All right, we are live on YouTube and other streaming platforms. Um, well, let's before we start talking about the Georgia Alabama game and playoff implications, and all that. Nice cup, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Um, let's for just a second. I think we should briefly touch on Tech, and we can kind of discuss it. My point about it, and I've written about this a few times on Dawn of the Dog, is whenever you're looking back at the 2023 season, no matter how the season ends, you're not going to remember this game. You're just not going to point to it. That they've had four healthy starters or scratches. Well, probably maybe three, maybe two, whatever. But it sent a message pretty clearly to the defense and to the offense as well. And I also think that, I don't know if the competitive edge was there against Tech as much as it was against any other team. Um, but credit to Buster Faulkner for what he did, and threw in the kitchen sink of the Georgia defense. I don't think anyone else, unless Alabama changes something, changes their identity. I don't see Alabama running that type of offense or scheme. So that's completely. I think again it's going to be a throwaway. So give me your quick thoughts and.
From a fan's perspective, it was frustrating to watch because you knew obviously Georgia was the far superior team. And we've seen this quite often with Georgia teams. They play down to the lesser opponent. So from a fan's perspective, it was frustrating to watch. But here's, you and I watched the game together, and I basically you were disappointed and upset, and I certainly can see that. But I don't know if you remember, but I said, "Oh well, we won, got away. Nobody got any more hurt, if that's the
Right.
right term. We got to win, and we'll move on and flush it." And that's exactly what I think the attitude kind of was from Georgia's perspective. They knew, I think, down deep inside, Kirby and the staff, and probably the players too, knew that they were just better and that we just
Yeah.
needed to get through this game. And we also know this is Georgia Tech Super Bowl, and everybody, including Tech, even more so, is going to be up to play Georgia and put their best foot forward. So, again, ton of credit to, like you said, to Tech and that staff. I do believe, and I know that Tech fans will probably say this is us being patronizing or patting them on the head and saying good job, but I do think that the right attitude from the head coach and from the staff is there. I believe they're a better coaching staff. I think they know what it takes to win football
Yeah.
games. And, like I said, I think it's better for college football if that game is competitive. And so I'm hoping that it will become more competitive as long as Georgia always wins. But, yeah, my takeaway is, look, file it away. Like you said, no one's a year from now, 20 years from now, no one's going to remember it. Get the win and let's move on. And I think our minds was focused on the Southeastern Conference Championship.
I do too.
And I would be curious what Alabama fans, if they felt the same thing going into Jordan-Hare. I mean, they probably were a little bit more, but in other words, I think Alabama was also looking ahead.
I think Alabama was definitely looking ahead, but here's the thing: people keep comparing this Georgia Tech and the Auburn games. They're not even relatively close. At no point was Georgia going to lose that Tech game. It wasn't ever going to happen. It was just extremely frustrating that Georgia could never just pull away and just shut the door. Alabama was going to lose. Alabama should have lost. It was 4th and 31.
Well, not only that, think about the weird, bizarre circumstances that it took just to get Alabama to that position of 4th and 31, which is the muff punt, which is, good God, just move away from the punt. You know what I mean? Just move away. I don't
Yeah.
understand. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of odd the Iron Bowl. There's just a lot of weird things that happen. Alabama was going to lose that game, and those are the two differences. But does that mean that? I should rephrase. Does that mean that Alabama wasn't looking ahead? No, I think Alabama was looking ahead. I think that's totally fair. So, do you want to get into the playoffs real quick, and then
We're do the playoffs, potential chaos. And
yeah,
who's going to win on championship Saturday?
Yeah. I think if Georgia loses, I think this it really fucks everything up. The committee really needs Georgia to win.
I would agree.
Here's the thing, and I know people really they have SEC fatigue, and totally understand it. The last time that a non-SEC team won the national championship was Ohio State in 2014.
Was it 2014?
Yeah. So it's been a long time. They have a lot of fatigue. And they beat Ohio State, had to beat Alabama to get to the national championship. Those are the national championship was Oregon and Ohio State, by the way.
I remember. I remember the game. I don't remember the year. I don't even know how much I watched. That was Cam Newton, right?
No. Cam Newton was Auburn and Oregon.
Maybe that's the one I remember. Anyway. Oh, yeah. I'm mistaken. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's been a long time, and I know people get really excited. But here's the problem. If Alabama, and I think Josh Pate talked about this, if Alabama ends up and they beat Georgia, it blows the entire Etch-a-Sketch up. It erases everything. So I think what's going to end up happening, if that happens, which I don't think is going to, little preview. That means Washington or whoever wins the Pac-12 is in, Michigan, and then it's Alabama, and then it's Georgia. And that's
who's on the outside looking in? Florida State is out.
I think Florida State's losing to Louisville, but even if they win against Louisville, you cannot justify to me that Florida State is better than Georgia. Not in any world can you justify that.
And I don't think any objective college football fan that watches football and sees with their own eyes would. I don't know how they can make a credible argument.
No, unless you're a Florida State fan. That's the only way you could.
I don't even know if a Florida State fan could say that without their starting quarterback. And should that matter? Should the other, guys on the team be penalized because their quarterback's out?
No.
And it goes back to that argument of the most deserving versus the four best, right? And then what criteria are you using if you're a committee member? It's totally subjective. But if the number one team all year long, and I know previous years shouldn't matter, but let's face it, it's got to matter some. If the previous national champion last 2 years went through the regular season, goes undefeated, and makes it to their conference championship, only to be beaten by the other dynasty that's been there for the last decade, really? That's what we're going to do? Okay. I mean, I could very easily see, because of SEC fatigue, because of wanting new people in here and creating excitement about this 12-team playoff, I could see some politics going on. So best advice for Georgia and for their fans, win the fucking game, and that way you won't have to bitch and cry baby about it. I'm going to do my best not to bitch and cry baby about it, because our fate is in our own hands. And if we want to be who we say we are, and all of us believe that we are, then shut up and let's go kick their ass, because they've owned us in Atlanta. But I know that's getting off topic. I'm getting fired up now. But yeah, I don't know. The four best teams, I agree with you. I don't know how you'd put Florida State in there. And congrats. They beat LSU at the beginning of the year and a mediocre LSU team. Yeah. And then they beat Clemson. Clemson sucks. ACC sucks.
Yeah, ACC sucks. And that's another conversation that I think we all need to have is that the conferences are not all created equally. And it's really uncomfortable, but the Big Ten is really not that good. I hate to break it to everyone.
They're the second. They're either the second or this year, the second or third. I can make an argument. Pac-12 might be a better overall from top to bottom. What else in the? All right, different conversation. But who else besides Ohio State and Michigan in the Big Ten this year? Penn State, really?
No.
Okay. Well, who else? You look at
Big Ten, nobody.
Look at Pac-12. Oregon State's not a bad football team. Arizona's ranked what?
Arizona's they're actually a hot team, pretty good. I'm very
agree. So I'm just saying the Pac-12, but they may be on the outside looking in on all this shit too.
I don't know. I think Oregon or Washington is in no matter what.
Wait a minute. Play this out with me. And I'm sorry, we're getting into hypotheticals, but I really want to understand what you're saying. If Alabama beats Georgia.
Yeah.
So Alabama in our scenario, and that's earlier scenario, Georgia and Alabama are both in, right?
Yeah.
Michigan is in.
Yep.
Who gets the fourth spot? Pac-12?
Yeah, whoever wins Pac-12. Look, Texas is not good.
I agree.
And so what if they beat Alabama in fucking September at Alabama? That game has no meaning of what is going on now. Has none. And I think it is crazy. Crazy. And I'm not an Alabama fan. I think it is absolutely crazy what they're doing with Alabama on this committee. If I was an Alabama fan, I would go nuts every week. It's crazy to me.
I can't believe that they are underranked. And and that's not, I agree with you. I think Alabama and Georgia are two, and I'm not in any particular order, but they are two of the top four, are two of the best teams in college football. And anybody that's watched and knows the league and knows what, and can see and knows football, they should be able to tell you that. And that's truth. And I think Michigan, hey, whatever, you deserve to go, I guess. I mean,
I guess. I think the Pac-12 is Pac-12. Well, it's going to be soon the Pac-12, a part of it. The Big Ten, it is not that good. And I got to be honest with you. I think Georgia or Alabama could beat Michigan by double digits. It
would not surprise me. On a neutral field, I don't know about point spread, but I would take either Alabama or Georgia to beat Michigan on a neutral field. I totally agree with you.
And Ohio State is not that good. I knew that all year. But that's the thing that kind of worries me, because if Georgia goes in here and doesn't play well and loses, they could be in an Ohio State situation, because they went from number 2 to number 6, which is crazy.
They need to be below
number 2 all year, and they just drop like a rock, which I don't think is fair, but whatever. I guess I'm.
Well, it's not fair if you go by the rankings, but it's fair in terms of if you watch Ohio State and you watch Michigan.
Yeah, that quarterback
is not. They were exposed, in my opinion. They're not a very good. Ohio State's not a very good team. They're certainly not better than Alabama.
Well, no, they're not. Ohio State is probably that's probably appropriately ranked. I don't know, but this is the thing that does worry me, because were they doing that out of like saying we overranked them early on? Sorry. Or was that like there's not enough space to put them like in striking distance of the top 4?
All right. You're asking me to speculate on a committee that I don't even understand how you get elected to be on the committee. How much football knowledge do they actually have? And then what are the criteria that they're using? I don't know any of that. And so I agree. This could be a shit show. And you're talking about probably the most watched, controversial reveal shows ever. Wait till if Georgia loses and Oregon wins and Texas wins, you're gonna have mass chaos.
It's gonna be nuts. All right, so here's the committee members: Chris Alt, Mitch Barnhart, Boo Corrigan, Chet Gludchuk, Jim Grobe, Mike Harlan, Wade Manuel, David Saylor, Will Shields, who, why is he on there? Gene Taylor, Joe Taylor, Rod West, and Kelly Whiteside. Why is
So,
it?
Jim Grove was a coach for Virginia, correct?
Yeah,
That's the same dude.
yeah.
That's the only guy I know. Is that the only? Is that the
You don't
only
know Will Shields?
name? So where was he played for Alabama, right?
I thought he played for Kansas State.
I don't know. It seems like I recognize the name, but I don't.
He played for the Chiefs. I know. I remember that. Let's see.
I'm not saying they don't know it, but anything about football, and I'm not even saying they should have name recognition, but
He went to Nebraska.
Football. Who?
Will Shields went to Nebraska.
Well, again, God bless them. They're on the committee and all that, and I'm sure they're doing the best job that they can. But it sure would be nice for people and fan and alumni who are paying shit pots of money. Not me necessarily, but people that are putting money in NIL. We ought to be allowed to kind of get a peek under the cover on what really is the criteria that we're using. What are some of the deliberations? We understand it's subjective, but the interpretation can be subjective, but the outline of what's being used needs to be objective, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's my humble opinion.
And when Reese Davis asks you a question, don't give a political answer. You're not running for fucking office, dude. It's college fucking football. Be honest. Everyone that watches is diehard. College football is the weirdest sport because it's a cult. Everyone knows everything about everybody, and they live and die this shit. It's not American politics. Don't sidestep a fucking question, Boo. I swear to God, if he does that Sunday, I'm going to kill myself. It's ridiculous. Did you see it? Him sidestep?
No, I don't think I know what you're talking about. But it's not the thing about how much of a separation is there between.
He did it again. He did it again.
No, I didn't. I just heard the original comment.
So Reese asked him. He goes, "How much of a difference is there between Georgia and the rest of the field?" Which is everyone knows that Georgia's head and shoulders above everybody else.
I don't know if everybody knows that, but
most people would come to an agreement. And Boo Corrigan goes, it was a really good week for college football, rivalry week. Georgia, they played Tech on the road, did a really good job with a lot of starters out. Michigan winning over Ohio State, big one for them. He went and did that type of answer, like an American politician. And it's like, dude, what are we doing? We can't have an honest conversation about this? That's crazy.
Well, you could also say that he's teasing. You know what I mean? Like he's wanting the people to continue to watch and guess, so they'll be tuned in. And let's all face this. This is all about money and revenue. And that whole reveal show, what is it, Tuesday?
Obviously tomorrow or this week.
Okay. But I mean, obviously I pay attention to it after the fact, but I never watch that shit because all the production and all the marketing, I may be a sheep, but I'm going to be the last sheep to be herded. So I think all of it is maybe propaganda or trying to cause publicity, not letting you know what we're really thinking behind closed doors.
Yeah.
We're going to keep all the fan bases tuned in and so they'll watch. So don't discount that when you're thinking about this as well.
Yeah, that's also true too. But I mean, I'll watch Sunday at noon. I think, here's, if you want to be really honest, if Georgia wins, I have to watch given the job that I have, but I'll tune in very late. I'll watch NFL pregame before I watch playoffs. So
if Georgia loses, I'm going to be watching.
Yeah, if Georgia loses, I have to watch. Yeah. Because I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. Also tonight is a huge game. Is Oregon and Washington.
Are they playing tonight?
Yeah, they play tonight at 8:00.
Did not know that. I'm glad you told me.
Yeah, it's on ABC. I think at 8. Um, it's a huge game. I think Oregon's the better football team. I picked Oregon. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose. But I think they're just a better team. I think Washington's a very good football team. I think they're a good football team with an exceptional quarterback. And that's what's been kind of keeping them propped up. And I don't think the committee's totally married to Washington. I don't think they have been all year. So
I would agree with that.
if Washington does end up losing, I think their hopes are dead, which, whatever. I think this playoff should be 8 teams and see how things turn out that way. I think that would be the most judicious way of doing it.
I don't even believe that, man, because if you go with the 8, then Missouri's not in there. And Missouri's honest to God. So again, we're going down a rabbit hole and we got to move on. But would you take Florida State over Missouri?
No.
Would you take Ohio State over Missouri?
Wait, stop. If the conference championship games happen, you're going to have like Washington, Oregon play each other. They're not going to move out of the top 8. But if you have Georgia and Alabama play each other, Alabama loses that game, they're not top 8 anymore. So Missouri would naturally move up.
All right. Well, it doesn't matter. We're talking about hypotheticals.
Yes, that is.
There's a lot of, humans are involved and there's fallibility. But
yes, I
at the end of the day, Georgia's in control of their own destiny.
Here's my question. I know. Do you think Missouri's a better football team than Alabama? I have really debated this. I don't know, man.
I think it's close.
I think it would be really close. And sadly, we won't ever get to see if that's the case or not. Hate it for Missouri fans. But I started thinking about this the other day, and I was nervous about this game because when you look at the stats, and I think I wrote about this in my 3 keys to the game. They're really good at explosive plays in red zone on both ends of the football. Georgia is good at giving up or not giving up explosive plays. Georgia's not so great in the red zone defensively. Offensively, the touchdown to field goal ratio, not where it needs to be for an elite team like Georgia is. So that kind of had me nervous, but the more I kind of thought about, well, what team is close to Alabama comparison-wise? And everything that I kept looking up and trying to figure out, it was Missouri.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel I've been confident all week. There's a little bit because I kept seeing I just kept hearing people talk about being worried because people are munching really hard right now. Yeah, I know. But I think this team knows what it needs to do. Kendall Milton talked about it, that Kirby told them that Georgia has not beaten Alabama in Atlanta since 1942. He told them that. So I think that's on their mind, which that doesn't win you football games, but they understand the situation, and that's why I really like Kirby as the head coach of my school, because obviously he played there, but he cares and he understands the importance of shit and he understands the historical context of shit. He's really good at that, and people don't really talk about that. Kirby absolutely knows the history of each individual game.
And I think he also understands the significance, meaning much 10,000 foot significance.
Yeah.
If Georgia beats Alabama in this type of environment, it will be, I do believe it will be the last nail in the coffin because of the recruiting. the advantage that Alabama has gotten, like Dallas Turner, right?
Right.
He said ultimately between Georgia and Alabama, what pushed him is Alabama had won the titles, had the championships, were sending people to the NFL, right?
Right.
That gets taken away from Bama. I mean, that's Georgia's doing that now, and
Yeah.
I think that's the significance of ending an era of a dynasty. And Kirby, as much emphasis as he places on recruiting, if for no other reason, he understands that too.
Yeah. I totally agree. And I think Georgia's been working on Alabama since, I don't know, probably well before the bye. I mean, it was pretty clear that
It sure hasn't shown up.
Huh?
It sure hasn't shown up. I mean, what I mean by that is if they've been working on them, we're susceptible to a quarterback that is mobile. We're susceptible
Totally
to the
different.
outside run.
I disagree with that.
You don't think we're susceptible to that?
No. I think we are susceptible to a design quarterback power run. I totally agree with that. That is not Alabama. That is not Alabama.
They do some of that. They do.
They do some of it, but it's only like 2% of their plays that they ever run. If it's going to be anything, it's going to be about to call him Joe Milton. Jalen Milroe standing in the pocket, doesn't see anything open because he panics. If something does not come open within the first 2 seconds of a play, he's taken off. That is a completely different conversation than this power run thing. Now, do I worry about gap integrity and staying disciplined and holding your gap? Yeah. But I think this is going to have to be a point of emphasis. I mean, that is the one way you can shut down this offense.
Well, yeah. So that's, to me, that's the key is to the game is, can Georgia make Milroe beat them through throwing the ball? And the answer to that is I don't think he can.
Right.
But if he's able to run and Alabama's able to run, and then yeah.
I think that their starting running back got hurt. Or he's done.
Yeah, he was in a boot, but sort of like Kirby, he's not. Saban's not going to tell you if he's going to play.
No, he's done. It's already reported. He's not playing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that McClellan guy, which I hate because I actually like watching him play. He's a tough.
Well, and we also get another excuse that Alabama fans can use. Oh, we were hurt.
I'm sure. Alabama's not explode. Like this is I know everyone Alabama fans especially because I know one very well. You want to tell me about the 2021 SEC championship game, and that game and this game were totally different. I mean, just totally different. Georgia had nothing to lose. Alabama had everything to win. I know I hate to use this excuse, but Georgia did have the flu. And they came out and played the most weirdest defense I've ever seen Georgia play. That was the oddest defense I've ever seen them play. It wasn't their normal defense all year. It was very apparent. And here's the other thing, too. Georgia got up 10-0. And then it looked like they ran out of gas because I went back and I looked. And Alabama had the most explosive offense. Alabama doesn't have the explosive offense here. They don't have the playmakers. Isaiah Bond and Jermaine Burton are not these explosive home run hitters like Mechie and Williams. They're just not. And you also don't have the running back that you used to have during that season. God, I forget his name. What was that running back's name?
I don't know. Was it number 4 or number 2?
I think it was number 2.
I can't.
Anyway, or number 4 maybe. Anyway, doesn't matter. Their offense is not what it used to be, and I gotta tell you, man, Jalen Milroe, he's played in this stretch where everyone's like, "Oh wow, he's so good now." He's played LSU, he's played Auburn, and they only scored 20-something points.
Played Ole Miss.
Well, no, they played Ole Miss, but that was before the stretch. There's been a few more games, obviously, that I'm missing. I'm completely blanking on. Oh, Kentucky. That was actually a good one, though. I'll give them that. Like fucking Chattanooga. So, yeah, so he's been burning up bad defenses. This is the best defense that they'll face. And it's also the best defense Georgia faces, which kind of worries me. Yeah, I'm talking way too much. I'll let you talk.
No, I totally agree. It's going to be it's going to be the best teams that both teams have played, right?
Yeah,
That's just what it is. It's that reason it's a number 1 versus number 8. To me, limiting Milroe's effectiveness running it, whether it's a design run or a scramble. The other thing too, that left tackle is a true freshman that Alabama has. He's gotten better. Is his name Proctor?
yeah,
I know he's a kid and I'm an old guy. I'm not picking on him. He's gotten better. But is Georgia able to exploit that with the talent that we got on the defensive end? I don't know. They played better, our guys have, but they're young. So that's going to be a key matchup. If we can put pressure and sap his ass,
if he starts hearing footsteps, the ball game's over.
I totally agree.
Jalen Walker, Michael Williams, Marvin Jones Jr. I mean, all those guys
to live up to the hype, buddy.
Yeah, you're gonna have to wake up and play this game. Look, if Milroe gets sacked 3-4 times, that ball game is. I would feel really good about Georgia's chances of winning that game.
And I'll tell you another thing, and it's going to probably be painful for Georgia fans, but if it starts going this way in the first half, I'm going to feel pretty good about it. What I mean by that is Georgia's offense, keep it third and manageable and matriculate the ball, as Hank Stram would say, 7 plays, 8 plays, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Yeah. Keep the ball out of their hands and just keep leaning on them. If you can do that and be successful, and then all of a sudden we play action pass and we hit a big play, an explosive play. But if we can keep the ball away from Alabama and just keep chopping, it's going to be hard for Alabama to beat us. But if we turn the ball over, if we can't get any pressure, if we can't stop Milroe from scrambling and running, it's going to be a long day for Georgia. And who knows? I could see this game. I know what the point spread says, but to me, this is a push 'em or whatever you call it, a pick 'em game. Yeah. I don't know how it's going to end up. I really don't. And I think Georgia should win. I think Georgia's been the better team all throughout the year. I think Alabama's gotten better as the season's gone on. But I also know from the past, and also from it got reinforced watching Auburn, you got to fucking kill Alabama twice. They are a championship program. Yeah. And it's going to be a 4-quarter game, I do believe.
Yeah, I think it'd be foolish to go into this game thinking that it's going to be just a blowout from the jump. I mean, it's just not going to happen.
Danny Cannell, that genius says we're just going to boat race them.
Well, let me tell you something. I'll suck Danny Cannell's cock if that actually happens. That's just not going to happen.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. I'm offering it right now.
Danny is really excited about that.
Yeah, hopefully they'll add some viewership.
That's what Danny's saying.
But I just don't see this being. Here's the thing, though. I can also see Georgia winning this thing by double digits because I just think Georgia's that much better.
I would love for you to be right. I on the other hand, I would be so elated if that happened, but I just don't see that happening, man.
Dude, I'm telling you, for some reason, I just in my gut, I just have this feeling that we're gonna win by double digits, and that really worries me. But I can't get it out of my head that we're gonna win by double digits, and I really think so. I think what we're all doing is kind of because if it was not Alabama and it was, I don't know, say LSU, Georgia would be over a touchdown favorite in this game. Like if you just take and change the colors and the uniforms and the same team, Georgia would be well over a probably a 8 to 10 point favorite in this game.
What was I mean, this is a pop quiz, but what was the spread last year when we played LSU?
14.
Was it that much?
Yeah, it was big for SEC.
Well, this Alabama's team better than LSU team last year.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know, but it is Alabama. That's the problem, and they're a championship team, and the same kids are recruited, and
Well, look, I don't know. I also have heard from inside sources that the offensive line has had a really good week of practice. Cedric Van Pran, I know that's been reported, has had a week of legendary stuff. That's what they
about him specifically.
Yeah. Carson Beck has been pretty good in practice, so we'll see. I mean, look, that's another thing too about Saban and Kirby's defenses. You have to have a pro style quarterback that has legs that can beat you. They always say, "Oh, well, the scrambling quarterback always beats a Kirby Smart and Nick Saban defense." No, it's a pro style quarterback that has legs. And if Carson Beck is on the money Saturday and he's putting it in tight windows and he's dealing with pressure in his face and he can still get the ball off and throw it to Ladd and throw it to Brock and throw it to Rah and throw it to Don Lovett.
Another point. Do you think all those guys are going to be playing? You think Rah is going to go, Ladd, and
I don't know about Rah. I would say because Ladd's been practicing, he's been a full go. Kirby's bullshitting you. I thought this was kind of funny. So you know what Kirby said on the injuries yesterday?
Yeah, he said like some people, it made him mad that some people were saying they were scratches just because of who they were playing, but they're hurt, guys. They're hurt.
Yeah, okay. So there was that, and he goes, I would refer to you to Monday's comment about the injuries. Then he moves on. They move on. Monday's comment about the injuries was, I don't know. I know as much as you know.
Yeah.
So I think he's playing a little bit of gamesmanship, and hey, if that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. But Graham reported it. Graham Coffey, Ladd McConkey's he's going to be a full go. He's been practicing. Brock's going to play. Tate. I can confirm that Tate Ratledge is going to play with 100% confidence. I don't know about Rah though, but you also have Dylan Bell, Rosemary Jack Saint. Who else do we got? Arian Smith. The list goes on and on. I think there's a lot of guys that
I'm not. Yeah, the receiver core. I feel good about. It's the trenches because the other thing too. This is going to come down. You mentioned the quarterbacks, and it's not just the quarterback, but primarily so. Whichever quarterback can execute the offense, not let the moment get too big for them, minimize turnovers. Those are going to be the keys to the game. Penalties, as we've all seen, Alabama, they won't like to hear it, but I agree with you. They're not a very disciplined team. They're not as disciplined as the teams that you used to see Alabama field. And that's been the last couple of years.
Alabama fans will admit that, by the way. They will admit that. I mean, I've had multiple conversations with Alabama fans about that.
Well, they're wrong. No.
They're saying that they're undisciplined.
Oh, I see. They are agreeing that they are.
Yes.
I got you. Okay. Well, they're right in that case. But yeah, no, it's going to be who can handle the moment the best, who can minimize mistakes, i.e. turnovers and penalties, because the two teams in terms of quality of athletes and also I would give the nod, quite honestly, outside of Saban, but I would give the nod to Georgia's staff. I believe we got a better, more experienced coaching staff.
Much better coaching staff.
All those things being said, Georgia should win this game, but I know this is Alabama, exactly what you said. I'm one of them. I'm not afraid of them, but I also know they're a championship program, and they are going to be tough to kill.
Yeah. No, they're going to be tough, but I had this feeling whenever we were up in Indianapolis. It was like, it's time. This is time. Like it has to happen. It's either now or it's never. So it has to be now. And that's my feeling. It's the same feeling right before we play the national championship. This is time.
What could that defense? You pointed out in one of your articles. How many times did Alabama, with a Heisman Trophy quarterback, get inside the red zone and we forced them to kick field goals? That was key. And I'm not sure this defense has got that.
No. This defense is not even close.
But they also don't have a Bryce Young at quarterback.
That's the other thing too. There is no Bryce Young in college football today. So thank God, because if that was the case, we'd be fucked. Like,
most accurate passer I've ever seen in college football with pressure in his face. He in Indianapolis. I know fans could see it, and it's been a while ago, but Georgia was knocking the dog piss out of him and right in his face, and he was throwing times.
There was that throw because we were sitting behind them. I know this is very inside baseball, but who cares? This is my podcast. You can fuck off if you don't like it. That it was like a third down. It was late in the ball game because Georgia had the lead and we were still pushing, but it wasn't I think it was about third quarter. I think it was before Stetson fumbled the ball, but we brought a blitz where we do that 2 linebacker blitz and they cross the X each other. And I think it was Quay Walker or Shane Tyndall, one of the two. Fucking lit that dude up. Lit him up. And he fucking got it off. And it was the most beautiful fucking pass I've ever seen in my life.
The only place the pass could have gone because we had a defender. It was over the middle.
Yes.
We had a defender right on him. He led him and put it down low. So if the only way the corner or whoever was covering could have gotten to the ball is go over the back, which would have been a pass interference, and let him going across the field. I agree. I remember looking at you going, this dude's really good.
And that's whenever I said, Jesus, fuck. Fuck He's was a really good quarterback. But again, I just have this feeling about the national championship. I had this feeling where I was convinced. And I remember whenever you were all down and out, down in the basement, I said, really, it was 3 plays that separated us from winning that game and Alabama winning that game.
You talking about the SEC championship?
Yeah, and Georgia did not play its best game that year. That was the worst game they played that entire year.
Well, that's the only game they lost.
Well, yeah, but 2022 there were some bad games that they played and they went undefeated. But that was the only game that they played terrible from start. But they didn't play very well the whole way through, and it was very obvious. But there were only 3 plays that separated the 2 teams. And I knew just going to the national championship, if you just don't make the mistakes, you're gonna win. It's the same thing here. If Georgia just doesn't make the mistakes, if they don't make the stupid mental errors, because you know what cost us in 2017 whenever we played them in Atlanta? A mental mistake. Sorry. So who was that? Aaron, God, what was his name? Malcolm Parrish. Parrish. Yeah. Mental mistake. Big time. 2018, mental mistakes. The fake punt, Kirby, that was terrible. Not having a spy on fucking Jalen Hurts whenever he came in, that was fucking stupid. So there's that. 2021, I don't know what the fuck that was. That was probably it was definitely mental mistakes on Stetson Bennett's part and the offense. I don't know what it was on the defense. Fatigue, maybe. So, but 2020, whenever we played them at Alabama, I was at that. Well, I was in Tuscaloosa, wasn't at that game. That was mental mistakes. That was Stetson just trying to play hero ball whenever
we let him at half, right?
We had him at half, yeah, and we had him beat. In the third quarter, we had him beat. That game drove me more nuts because I was down there with all those fucking retards. And then, so those are all the games under Kirby Smart. All of them, every single one of them is mental mistakes. If Georgia just eliminates the mental mistakes, they are the better team. I think we've all known that. They've been the best team all year. Just go out there, execute, play your game. Don't if you're going to turn the ball over, turn it in no man's land. Don't turn it over in plus territory or the red zone. If you do that, you're going to win the game and score touchdowns and stuff, kicking field goals.
That's
Football
the
is a
key.
really easy sport.
And I know Kirby would disagree. The turnovers are a key, and scoring touchdowns in the red zone instead of kicking field goals. Here's the other one. Kirby would tell you that sometimes time of possession just is not as important.
It's true. It's not true.
In this game,
Yeah,
I am looking for Georgia to keep the ball out of Milroe's hands to limit the amount of pain that he can inflict on us. And that's going to be important, I think. We'll see.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. As Hank Stram would say, matriculate the ball down the field. And that's what Georgia's offense has been really good at. They're a machine. And they're
can be when they're clicking. Yes, I agree.
And they're so efficient at doing that. You could have Oregon's offense or you can have LSU's offense. I'll take Georgia's offense on any given day. It's the best offense in college football I've seen in a while. It's just so efficient. I love it.
LSU probably.
Yeah, the 2019 LSU team, but the offensive line was not as good as it could have been. But anyway, just inconvenient facts. All right, let's get into the predictions. I'll go ahead and give you my score.
All right,
I've been thinking about it. I keep debating whether it's going to be 34-17 or 42-17. I've been sticking with that number. Yeah, I've been sticking with that number all week. I just don't. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter which way I go. Alabama is a very good football team. I think Georgia is also a good football team. I think Alabama might have a shot in this game to make it a lot closer. I just don't see Alabama winning this game. I could be wrong. I could be an idiot, and I could eat crow later down the line. I just feel very confident. I don't think Alabama's all that great. I think Alabama should have lost about 2 or 3 games this year. Georgia really never had a flirt with disaster. So they were down 20 to nothing or 20-7 at halftime against Tennessee.
Oh, Bama. Yeah.
Yeah. It took Tennessee's ineptitude for Tennessee to lose that game. Alabama is a good football team. I don't think they're there yet. And I guarantee you that will be the narrative once we get out of this game that, this was a rebuilding year. Look at what Saban, this is probably one of Saban's best coaching jobs that he's done.
I agree. I totally agree.
So credit to them, but this is not an Alabama team that has been as dominant as an Alabama should be. And talking to some Alabama people, they might have helped me with this score because they feel this way too. I think Alabama's a good team. I think they should be congratulated for a really good season for even getting to Atlanta. It's really impressive. This team is not going to play for a national championship, which will make me giddy and over the moon. So I'll go. I've really liked Georgia with that 42 number. So I'll go Georgia 42, Alabama. I'll bump them up 20.
42-20.
42.
What's the over-under on this game?
This thing is 58.5.
Well, I would take the under.
Yeah.
But my score, and I think it's going to come down, and good gosh, this is going to be nerve-wracking. I think it's going to be 30-24, and I'm just hoping Alabama doesn't have the ball with 3 minutes left to go, and all they need to do is score a touchdown. But I think it's going to be one of those games. I'm going to go and feel good about Georgia 30, Alabama 24. Low-scoring game, comes down to the last drive, and let's just hope Alabama doesn't have it with 3 minutes to go, and all they need is a touchdown.
Look, I think that one last key. If you made it this long, you deserve a medal. But if Georgia scores that 30 mark, I don't think Alabama's going to win the game, and that's the biggest key. The only way that Alabama is going to win this game if they keep Georgia
Keep us under 30. That's the reason I picked this. Yes, I agree.
If they let us score 30, there's no way they're going to score 30. It's just not going to happen. They might score 28, but if we have 30 or more, they're not going to win the game. That's why I picked 42-20 because I think it's going to be like a 3. Oh, wow, I did not. I just realized that's a 3 score.
Big difference. That's a big spread, man.
Well, I think it's going to be. This is what it's going to be. It's going to be tight, but Georgia's going to have like a touchdown to 2 touchdown lead going into half, and then it's just going to be like a slobber knocker all the way through, and then Georgia might get a backdoor touchdown. But I wouldn't be shocked if it's a 10 to 12 point game the rest of the way. I don't see it being this close game that some people are talking about.
Well, I do.
I've just watched both teams. I've watched a lot of them. I could be 100% wrong. I don't want to be wrong. I think Alabama is one of the better teams in college football. I don't think they're matchup wise. I know I've been talking a lot, but matchup wise, it is not conducive for Alabama, and that's why I think this is going because I think the teams are actually pretty even. But the thing is, matchup, it does not favor Alabama.
I don't know about that, Max. They got probably the best defensive backs outside of Georgia. They got the best defensive backs in college football. So what's Georgia's strength? Throwing the ball, right? So we're not the running team we were and have been in the past. So I'm just saying.
I just disagree with that.
Well, that's the reason we're going to play the game and figure it out. I hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right.
Yeah, I just think Alabama's offense does not match up well against Georgia's defense because everything that Alabama does, even the quarterback runs fit Georgia's scheme. They fit the scheme. And defensively, Alabama, same thing as they're a really good defense. But they have a really good secondary and they have a decent front seven. But if Georgia puts clamps on that and can run the ball and throw the ball in the underneath part, which they can because our linebackers are very susceptible to that, it's just not a very good matchup.
Here's what's going to give me heartburn in the first half.
Yeah,
just like I said, if we're able to get after Milroe and hit him and take advantage of that left tackle. If Georgia, for the first time all year, and Carson Beck starts getting hit because Alabama can put pressure on our guy, that's going to be problematic.
Yeah.
We don't know how Carson Beck's going to – because he hadn't been hit that much all year. No. If they start knocking the shit out of him, it's going to be interesting.
I'm going to really love Amarius Mims versus Dallas Turner. I think that's just going to be fantastic.
Yes, that's a lot of good matchups.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be shocked if Dylan Fairchild gets a start over Xavier Trust.
Really?
Just putting things out there for some people who like to watch offensive line and know a little bit.
This one, watch the offensive and defensive line because early on it's going to tell you.
You will know within the first 2 minutes of the game who's going to win or who's going to lose.
I don't know if it's going to be 2 minutes, but it'll be in the first quarter. You'll have
you'll have a decent idea. But the thing about Georgia's fucking offensive line is they have to sweat and break loose a little bit to get a good rhythm going.
Just Georgia's offensive line. That's a lot of offensive linemen. Get them worked in the lather.
Yeah, fuck. Anyway, all right. So I have Georgia winning by 3 fucking scores. Who knew? I didn't even think about that till I sat down and did it. And then you have them winning by
6.
Cunt hair. So
yeah.
All right. They're definitely not made for kids. All right. See ya. Oh, Don the Dog. I gotta publish my blog about this game. I'll probably make the score a little bit tighter for them. This is you have to know. You got to be in the know.
You got to be careful and make it close because you'll have death threats again.
Yeah, I Bama Hammer. I appreciate the shout out. Evidently, I have death threat emails. I appreciate that too, I guess. That's also another reason why I want Georgia to beat Alabama. I guess people are wishing death upon me. I'm sorry. So check out Donald the Dog. Score prediction will be up probably in the next hour or so. And then for your shipping needs, go to Unishippers Atlanta and give me a random employee's name.
Brandon Radiker.
All right, ask for Brandon. So there you go. If this works out one day, I'll be thrilled. I get 10% of the sell. All right, see you then.
All right. See ya.